This is Michael Popok, Legal AF. Mark Meadows should stop worrying about moving deck chairs on the Titanic, trying to move his criminal Georgia prosecution case from state to federal court. He should worry more about witnesses against him like Cassidy Hutchinson. Cassidy Hutchinson, his former right-hand person, has a new memoir out, and there are some bombshell allegations in there about specifically Mark Meadows by his former assistant, as reported by CNN. Mark Meadows, let's just go through the list of things that Mark Meadows, according to Cassidy Hutchinson, he observed. First, she claims that he leaked classified documents to at least two right-wing media personalities, and that the White House counsel's office, led by Pat Cipollone, had difficulty getting those documents back. Just a quick news flash, the chief of staff or anybody else is not supposed to be leaking any classified documents to anyone who doesn't have top secret classified security clearance. Just as a continued set of evidence against Mark Meadows and his argument that I was just doing my job as chief of staff, I was within my job description. Here are some things that are outside of his job description, according to his lead assistant, Cassidy Hutchinson, that Mark Meadows burned documents, including classified documents, in his White House fireplace, that the smell was so acrid that his wife once asked Cassidy Hutchinson to have Mark stop burning documents in the fireplace because his suits were starting to smell like a barbecue. I am not making this up. She also testifies or attests in her book that Mark Meadows, again, outside the chain of his responsibilities as chief of staff, met with former Hunter Biden associate Tony Bobulinski, obviously to try to use that person against Hunter Biden and by extension against the primary rival for Donald Trump, President Joe Biden. Specifically, she also reports, as it relates to the infamous phone call into Georgia, that is one of the bases, one of the overt acts in the indictment against Mark Meadows, the famous "let's just find 11,870 votes." She claims that Pat Cipollone was actually on that phone call or listened to that phone call. That's a counter to what he testified to the Jan 6 committee, which he testified as White House counsel that he had only learned about that phone call much, much later. But she claims he was on that phone call or near that phone call and reported out loud to Mark Meadows that was not a good phone call. She also claims, Cassidy Hutchinson, in her new book, that Mark Meadows said to her, "If I can just keep Donald Trump out of jail, I will have done a good job as White House chief of staff." Listen to how he put that sentence together. If he saw his job as keeping Donald Trump out of jail, and he saw Donald Trump's actions as things that could put him behind bars, and his role was to try to stop that. She also puts Mark Meadows as one of several people she identifies in the book as having overheard Donald Trump acknowledging that he lost the election. That and the rest of the information that I just outlined about Mark Meadows will certainly be used by Jack Smith, the special counsel, and his FBI and investigative team, and Fani Willis and her band of Fulton County DA team and staff against Mark Meadows in their efforts to get him to cooperate and or to prosecute him. He's already indicted in Georgia. He's not yet indicted in the federal cases by Jack Smith, but this book by Cassidy Hutchinson is not going to help. And just to answer the question probably on your mind already, yes, Cassidy Hutchinson is cooperating fully with Fani Willis, Fulton County District Attorney, and the feds, and Jack Smith, the federal prosecutors, having already testified before the Jan 6 committee. So we're running through the Mark Meadows problems, new evidence potentially with Cassidy Hutchinson. Obviously, whatever she wrote in the book, she obviously has told the prosecutors. And if she hasn't told the prosecutors and they're reading about it for the first time in the book, that's not great for Cassidy Hutchinson. I doubt that's happening. Whether she sent them a draft or highlighted it or let them know what her new testimony, if you will, was going to be in the book. Certainly, I would be shocked if the prosecutors are shocked by the revelations in the book. And certainly, if they know it, if Mark Meadows doesn't know it yet, Mark Meadows' lawyers know it. Now, Mark Meadows is busy scrambling with spokespeople denying Cassidy Hutchinson's report, saying, oh, that's not why my wife mentioned the bonfire comment. And although that's not the type of document that I released to right-wing media, they weren't really classified. They just had personal information in them that needed to be redacted. You know, more dancing on coals with bare feet by Mark Meadows as he tries to navigate this. The reality is he's not Mark Meadows based on Cassidy Hutchinson. And this is probably just the tip of the iceberg of what she's told to both Jack Smith and Fani Willis. He's not going to be able to dance through the raindrops and not get wet. Quite the opposite. She also identifies a series of people that can pin knowledge on Donald Trump that he lost the election. I'll be doing another hot take on that one. But the takeaway from this hot take is we're getting new reporting based on the memoir by Cassidy Hutchinson called Enough, that she has a number of facts that she's going to testify against Mark Meadows about that put him tremendously in criminal liability. It'll either be used in the indictments themselves, including an upcoming indictment by Jack Smith in the federal court, which likely could come out, or it's going to be used to convict him as continued evidence against him in court. As I said at the top of the hot take, worry less about which courthouse you're likely to be convicted in and worry more about cooperating with the government and the federal and state prosecutors to try to get out from under your own criminal exposure. This is Michael Popok for Legal AF. I do hot takes like this one at the intersection of law and politics about every day, sometimes every hour, depending upon developments, exclusively on the MeidasTouch Network YouTube channel. Free subscribe, help them get to 2 million. And if you like what I'm doing, you can see me also on Wednesdays and Saturdays on a video and audio podcast on MeidasTouch Network we call Legal AF. It's what you think. Wednesdays and Saturdays, you can watch us on YouTube and then everywhere you get your audio podcast from. Till the next hot take, until my next episode of Legal AF, this is Michael Popok reporting.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.